Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome back to another going Old Skool Retro Discussions. And we got a wonderful panelist today with us. We got Steve Kenobi. What's going on, Steve?
Hi, not much at all. Looking forward to talking to you about The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, man. Oh, love that movie. I can't wait to start talking about it. First, we're going to say hello to some of the people that are in the chat. Citizen333, what's going on, buddy? Chris Fisk, what's up? I was watching the Rittenhouse trial when the channel was shut down by YouTube for a violation. Of course it was. It's a violation of their policies. JJ, what's going on, JJ? The intro sounds a lot better on my TV. But yeah, I know that everything's going on with the Rittenhouse trial, and it's one of those things. I guarantee you that thing is going to be running over for hours and hours and hours, because there's nothing that the court system can seem to do anymore that is quick. You know, I seem to recall this thing. They used to talk about justice was swift but fair, and it is anything but anymore.
Yeah, I think if that kid is acquitted, he can start. He can sue news sites for years and years and years. He'd be rich.
Not like that other kid did, the one that was being accused of being a native hater.
Yeah, that one got CNN, I think, and the Washington Post, and one other news site, I think, had to pay $250 million. Happened last year.
Miss Martin Muses, what's going on?
Hi, Teresa.
I wonder if Miss Martin likes talking about the Breakfast Club.
She actually probably does.
It's so rare that I can get Miss Martin to come on these panels, because most of the topics are not necessarily something she's familiar with. So I'd love to have her on to talk about that. So
yeah. Well, quite often you're talking about stuff I don't remember either. So it's it's a hit and miss with most people, I guess.
It happens, you know. Sherry, hello there.
Hi, Sherry.
We'll see who else pops on the panel. I mean, you know, once again, thank you, everybody. It's already showed up. I mean, I know there's a lot of things going on. It's a Monday. There's always a lot going on, but especially with all this nonsense with the Rittenhouse trial and everything that's going on with all the freaking bot whack jobs on Twitter attacking people, because he's evil and he needs to be punished and all that other nonsense. It's just so ridiculous. I mean, me personally, I like to get away from that stuff every once in a while.
Yeah. I saw a poll that I can't remember who did it. It was one of the news sites or something. 69% of the people who replied thought Rittenhouse had killed black people.
Of course they did, because that's the way the mainstream news media had actually portrayed it.
I mean, I'm over in Norway, and I knew he shot 3 white people. You know, I've known it for a year, or whenever he did it, since last year, I guess.
Yeah, it's been some time. Chris Fisk, when I first saw The Breakfast Club, I identified with the kids. Now I identify with the adult characters. It does kind of feel like that sometimes, doesn't it, with the way everything is shifted? And I'm not Creative 22. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? Mainstream media equals state-run propaganda arm. Oh, we have Miss Martin Muses. What's going on, Miss Martin?
Well, apparently she's quiet about it.
She's in deep thought.
Yep. Probably a microphone.
Well, while she's getting that sorted out, I want to get the people that are here in the chat already in the feels for this one. So I got a small clip already prepared, giving like a small breakdown of the Breakfast Club, just so you all can remember the fun of this movie. And here we go.
Written and directed by John Hughes, 1985, The Breakfast Club. Starring Emilio Estevez as Andrew Clark, Paul Gleason as Richard Vernon, Anthony Michael Hall as Brian Johnson, John Kapelos as Carl, Judd Nelson as John Bender, Molly Ringwald as Claire Standish, Ali Sheedy as Allison Reynolds, So how did they get into this situation and how does the story unfold? Well, here we go. Beyond being in the same class at Shermer High School in Shermer, Illinois, Claire Standish, Andrew Clark, John Bender, Brian Johnson, and Allison Reynolds have little in common, and with the exception of Claire and Andrew, do not associate with each other in school. In the simplest and in their own terms, Claire is a princess, Andrew an athlete, John a criminal, Brian a brain, and Allison a basket case. But one other thing they do have in common is a 9-hour detention in the school library together on Saturday, March 24th, 1984, under the direction of Mr. Vernon, supervising from his office across the hall. Each is required to write a minimum 1,000-word essay during that time about who they think they are. Now, at the course of this movie, as it plays out, they see things slightly differently, and they realize that they have a lot more in common than they ever would have believed. And one of the interesting things of this movie that there was actually many things that just were not scripted. So one of the scenes in which all the characters sit in a circle on the floor in the library and tell stories about why they were in detention was not scripted. John Hughes simply told them all to just ad-lib. And towards the end of the film, Judd Nelson actually improvised a part at the closing of the film where Bender raises his fist in defiance. He was supposed to just walk into the sunset.
So, I mean, there's a little brief one for you, a little bit of that, the ad-lib stuff. And John Hughes was actually famous for telling the actors to just kind of ad-lib and to just run with stuff during his films. And I think that's what gave a lot of those films like a quirky personality that a lot of the fully scripted films just didn't seem to have. Yes, Iron Man smashed the like button. DJ Scandalous, what's going on, DJ? Good to see you again. I actually never seen this film. Oh wow, really? This is a good one. If you've seen any of the other films that John Hughes has done, this one ranks up there as probably for me one of the best that he's ever done. And it's classic, yeah, absolutely.
It's probably one of the best movies in the 80s as well.
It was such a great film. Oh, we got a turtle. What's up, Shellback?
Don't you forget about me.
Well, I can't forget you about you. You're on the panel. Bender is one of my favorite characters of all time. Yeah, the rebel. I mean, and it was such a good rebel, too, because he wasn't like the classic rebel where he was the super tough guy. Because he acted tough, but he wasn't quite as tough as he thought he was. Sorry, stupid internet. Well, Miss Martin, if you have a chance to stop back in, we would love to have you up here. Channel 66, what's going on?
I saw Anthony Michael Hall a few weeks ago on Halloween Kills. He played one of the supporting characters. He got old.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that does kind of happen.
Yep.
He wasn't one of the particular kind of couple that Michael Myers is now in trouble for killing, was he?
No. He played Tommy Doyle, the kid Jamie Lee Curtis babysits in the first one. So he went vigilante mob justice on. Set the mob on, or rather raise the mob to get Michael Myers.
I'm not Creative 22. I've seen many other John Hughes films, just not The Breakfast Club. I have seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh my God.
Hey, dude, let me tell you, I have a full breakdown of this movie. I mean, without giving away too many spoilers, but it gives you a very good idea what this film is like. It's on my channel. It's a very older video that I did. It's in my talking movie segments. If you want to take a look at it to see if maybe this is a movie you'd like to check out, I would suggest taking a look at there, and I think you would probably like it. If you like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you'd probably love this one. Feeling 29, what's going on, buddy? And Shadow Bandman, what's up?
I don't know what to say to or about I'm not creative for not seeing The Breakfast Club yet.
Does it
Sir,
hurt your-
sir,
does
sir
it hurt
or
your heart?
ma'am, sir or ma'am, you are dead to me until you watch that movie. Okay.
I think I missed this movie back in the day because I couldn't remember having watched it. So I watched it. I think it was 2 years ago, which might have been for the first time. I simply don't remember. But this is kind of like an essential '80s movie, you know.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, really, like it was movies like this, and then of course later on Weird Science, and all those movies that really got Anthony Michael Hall going in his career.
Yeah.
Miss Martin, welcome back.
Hi, I had to restart my computer. It kept kicking me off. Never mind. I said a lot of very colorful words, but I'm very happy to be back.
I
Awesome.
bet you
Female-
said. I bet you said fuck.
Among other words.
Oh yeah, I've been getting a little bit of grief about my last little short video I did. My little music video. Fuck YouTube. They were like, dude, you can't do that. You can't do that. I said, "Want to bet?" Citizen 333. Remember the
Yeah.
janitor character in the Breakfast Club was originally offered to Rick Moranis. Yes, I actually talk about that in my movie review. There was actually a bunch of these characters that other people were offered those roles at first. It's actually kind of funny
Oh,
thinking
wow.
about what might have been if that happened.
Oh my.
Yeah, but now you couldn't even. I mean, you couldn't even picture anybody else being in those roles, though.
Oh no.
Eat
You know what?
my
Rick Moranis is kind of a.
shorts.
I never thought he was a great actor, but he's like every time he's in the movie, it just makes you feel better for some reason, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy's just awesome.
But he shrunk the kids, Stig,
Yeah, he did.
It's a je ne sais quoi.
and himself eventually.
Yeah, he had that flesh-eating plant too. Guy's trouble.
Suddenly Seymour.
Feed me, Seymour.
If we
Yeah,
start
grab
singing,
that.
we'll scare everybody off.
Well, I want to ask everybody this question: what was your favorite character in this movie?
I don't know that I could pick one because I mean it's like, and I mean when it originally came out, I might have been more like the Anthony Michael Hall character or whatever, because I mean I wasn't a jock and I wasn't like the Judd's character,
The criminal.
Bender, yeah. So, but then I wasn't as like preppy looking or like the quote unquote straight A student that Anthony Michael Hall's character was. So
were you
yeah.
somewhere in between the Michael Anthony Hall character and the Ali Sheedy
yeah.
card basket case?
minus the boobs. Yeah, minus the boobs.
Sup, Keck 44, and what up, Bone? And
No.
JP's, what up, JP's?
No, actually,
Oh.
by the end of my high school career, I was a bit of all of the male characters. Because I mean, I was a little bit of a nerd, and I did do some things that the police are it's good the police didn't find out about. And I did do some I did do some track in high school too. So I mean I did spend a little time as the jock. So yeah.
I wasn't like any of the characters, but I liked the Judd Nelson character the best. Yeah. They didn't have like a snooty classical musician there. What can I say?
Well, I think probably the closest thing you get to that is kind of like the princess.
Oh yeah, but I despised her. she really was the kind of person I could not stand in high school.
Well, it's kind of funny how she comes around by the end of the movie.
Oh,
At
yeah,
least a little
absolutely.
bit, yeah.
Well, and that's the whole point of it. The movie too is that they all had a facade that they were using, and that part of the whole problem with high school, and I can assert this, all school, is that it doesn't allow kids to be what they are, because it is a completely manufactured society that they are forcing these children into, and these students.
One of the
I
things
think
that
I
I talked
ended
about,
up liking all of them.
yeah, well,
I-
most of
I
the
don't have
characters
a
I think were
favorite.
good, but
Well, this is one of those movies that we were used to getting year in and year out, because back then they actually cared about writing.
Mm-hmm.
Movies were well written, and this one really showcases that, I think, because all the characters are really well fleshed out in the story, and arguably it's more of a character driven story than a plot driven one, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
the plot is basically just a premise.
Yeah.
They have the tension. That's it.
yeah, that was the one thing they all had in common. And Miss Martin, what you were talking about, that was actually one of the things I talked about in my movie review. I said that they get over basically what it is the societal brainwashing that they go through to believe that people that are in this group are no good for this reason and they need to be avoided. And they find out that all those preconceptions that they have are thrown out the window once they actually get to spend time with those people and get to talk to them and get to know them.
Exactly. And that the stereotypes are niches that they all put themselves in as well, and artificially pits them against each other as a sense of security, as a sense of identity. And it's effed up that school and society, in many ways, does not allow people to be themselves.
But I also think in this movie, they kind of a little bit touch on, even though it's society and school that's imprinting things in the kids' minds, right? It's also a case of their own prejudices that's coming straight from themselves.
Yeah. Or ingrained in them by their parents.
Yeah, it's not always just society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the line that still always sticks with me in that movie is when one of them says, OMG, are we going to end up being like our parents? And part of the way they are at the end, it's like, let's rebel against that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that a lot of what they did, especially with the jock, was driven by pressure from his father.
Oh, especially the whole scene with the taping.
Yes, exactly. Where he admits that, and then you have Judd Nelson's character who is being abused, or at least and watching his mother being abused, and then Molly Ringwald's parents who are going through a divorce and use her to get at each other, and then the really sad character who says they ignore me.
Yep.
It's about loneliness.
Hoy, what's going on, Chaos Hoy? I just want to get to the people in the chat real quick. And the Sentinel, what's going on? Hey everyone, just stopping by to leave a like. I'm out right now doing a few things, just listening. Have a good one. Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. But I think that is something that a lot of kids, they wind up developing societal problems because they feel like they're ignored and they're not being listened to. I mean, but there is a fine line between catering to a child overly and just being able to at least, show them something that realizes that they're there, that they matter in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. This was the 80s, which was the first generation that grew up with the baby boomers, that grew up post the sexual revolution and no-fault divorce. And everyone would think was trying to find their place.
Definitely were. JP's in high school. I was the epitome of Emilio Estevez and Judd Nelson's characters.
Pity.
Is this loud enough? Do you want me to turn it up? It's all about categorizing people to fit them into simple, easily identifiable little boxes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I guess it goes without question that my favorite character is the one that I was most like. And I guess you could probably figure that one out, Miss Martin.
You? Actually, I'm not entirely certain. Probably the Judd Nelson character.
Bingo.
Really?
I
would have
literally
guessed the princess.
A princess, the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The basket
just like I am now. Back then, I was a smart ass. I would dress like a bum. I mean, I still kind of dress like a bum. I've never outgrown that.
I broke into my principal's office and pissed on her carpet at night. Chef school, because the school was next to the dorm, and I had snatched a key. So I had a key and access to the school at night. And me and my friends used to sneak in and play Doom on the school computers. And I went downstairs to the principal's office to take revenge for something and pissed on the carpet.
Soul Assassin, what up, buddy?
I don't regret it either.
He says Tommy was actually the class pet who ran into a bad crowd.
Well, yeah, he is a guinea pig.
That was so funny. I had to read that one.
He was lonely. He was sick of people no longer feeding him those little pellets.
Those pellet things are the worst.
No, but I love them when you send them on Twitter.
I actually have a similar story to that, Stieg. The only difference is I didn't go in to do that. I was thrown into an in-school suspension in the one school I was in, and their in-school suspension was actually a small room right next to the main office room where the principal sat. And I was asking them, I think I was maybe about 5 at the time. I was raising my hand, telling them I needed to go to the bathroom. Lady told me, shut up and sit there, do work. I said, but I got to go. She refused to let me go. So I said, okay. So I went right there on the floor. And of course, my father was called and I was expelled.
Yeah, you did nothing wrong.
Hey, I warned him. I said, look, I am going to unload on this floor. If you guys don't back off and let me go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
They didn't listen.
Well, that speaks
When
a
you
little bit
gotta
to
go.
where I talk about school being an artificial society, is that we as adults, if we need to pee, we can go pee. But at school, for a myriad of reasons, we just can't let kids go pee. And it's not right. We need to pee.
Better out than in.
Yeah.
No,
Go ahead, Shulback.
I was gonna say, didn't seems like I heard not too long ago about them. There's rumors of a Breakfast Club remake or something. Somebody's trying to do.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would be
You know,
horrible.
like a modern day version or whatever.
Yeah, they were talking about it, and they were going to do some race swaps and this, that, and the other thing. It pretty
Yeah.
much got nixed, from what I understand. It got shot down because nobody wanted to touch it.
Yeah.
Well, what I would like to see though is like a reunion, like the all the characters come back for a class reunion. Although I don't know, they probably all weren't in the same grade though, were they?
Well, here's an interesting thing that John Hughes was actually talking about he wanted to do when he made the Breakfast Club, is he was actually talking about he wanted to do a series of films on those characters where every 10 years they would go back and revisit and see what they were doing, and they would have like a meetup.
Ooh.
That was an initial concept, but of course we know it never happened, but
Mhm.
it was an interesting concept, I think.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. With
yeah.
all the Brat Pack, that would have been all those Brat Pack movies.
I wish the Brat Pack would do a new one. That would be cool, like a reunion movie.
Like St. Elmo's Fire probably would be the best one. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean in general, just do a brand new movie
Oh, okay.
with
That
them
too.
in it.
Was it taken down? I didn't see it, Tommy. That F YouTube. Let me see.
As far as I know, it's still up.
Okay.
The last time I checked.
Bunch of lying SOBs. Hypocrites.
Yeah, as far as I know, it is. I mean, I
Okay.
think I watched it just a little bit while ago.
Yeah, I'm still seeing it on my creator page.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I must have missed it. The whole idea.
I did hear, however, from another creator, they said, I want to say it was Fat Steven. He was saying something about he watched it and then he got this message right afterwards that popped up from YouTube. I forget exactly what it said. It was kind of ridiculous. It was basically like, overt language or, something. Basically, I'm not following the agenda and they were upset about it.
I didn't get no message. I feel cheated.
Do you? Here.
Maybe it's a north of the border thing. I don't know.
Okay, here's what he said he got. YouTube featured our commitment to connect you to reliable information. We remove volative content, reduce the spread of borderline content, raise authoritative sources, and reward trusted creators. He said he said he got that after watching my video. It's nice to know that I'm on the YouTube radar.
Yeah. That's their, squeal on your neighbor policy they got going now.
I would love to see a geriatric Brat Pack film.
They're all in the retirement home.
Don't you forget to change my Pampers.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what our commander in chief said.
I was about Don't forget to wipe my butt.
My butt's been wiped.
I mean, there were so many other great moments in this film too.
Brandon.
Like I thought actually the school principal was actually more interesting character than probably the first time I viewed it, like on subsequent views, because you kind of understand where he's coming from now, like seeing the way modern kids react to everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I mean, because I can say it from being on both ends, when everyone is just sitting there hating your guts and yelling and cussing at you or beating the shit out of you, I mean, sometimes you get a little jaded. It's like, oh, I'm trying to help you. Quit it.
So Chris Fisk says, we had a mentally disturbed kid that used to dress in Southern Belle style dresses. One day he filled one of those gray wool socks with poop and swung it around hitting people in the boys.
Oh my gosh.
That's not very ladylike.
Okay.
No.
No, it's not.
Wait a minute. Okay.
Modern kids are the devil.
I mean,
it's true to an extent.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's not like kids have never not been bad. We always have. Every last one of us growing up have rebelled against authority in some way, shape, or form.
Sure.
It's just gotten to the point now where rebelling against the authority is because they're racist and they're intolerable and all these other things. It's
I mean, when I was in school in the 80s, if you assaulted your teacher, you usually would get like arrested. The first question to the teacher wouldn't be, well, what did you do to cause him to want to punch you in the face?
Yeah. Well, why didn't you de-escalate it?
Yes. What did you do to de-escalate? It's like, I don't know. I just saw a desk fly towards my face.
If we punched a teacher, I bet the teacher would have probably punched back.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They always talk about students not being able to defend themselves. Teachers are not either.
Teachers just start fucking up the kids when they misbehave. Go back old school.
Yeah,
We're not allowed. We're not even allowed to kick them out of class anymore.
Yeah. Is detention even legal anymore? Or
Barely. It's easier to send a kid to get the death penalty than it is to send them to detention.
Dude, when they got rid of when they had the teachers get rid of their paddles in freaking elementary school, I was like, oh crap, here we go.
Well,
Because I mean,
I was going to say
you know-
detention is totally okay. You just got to make sure you get the kid's consent first, apparently.
yeah.
Something like that. And let's say you practically have to get a lawyer to defend yourself to prove. And teachers can't give detention. Teachers can like write it up and then it goes to a committee. It's just a nightmare anymore.
if you're like 10 years old, you can take at least one punch to the stomach every week. And teachers should know that. So they should just fuck them up.
Did you ever get effed up by one of your teachers, Steve?
No.
Oh.
No.
I
well,
know some.
one substitute teacher slammed me against the wall.
Oh.
Like
I imagine Stieg being wiry and getting out of the way.
Or able
I don't
to avoid getting caught.
No, that substitute teacher grabbed me and smashed me into the wall and lifted me up against the wall. Just,
Did you
I don't
deserve
know
it?
what I did. I don't know.
Oh.
Something.
Because my
Which
dad.
is fine. I didn't whine about it.
Yeah. My dad's generation, they used to get beat up all the time by their teachers. And he used to always say, well, we probably had it coming. They used to do terrible things to them.
My dad's generation was they got their fingers smacked with a ruler and things like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not saying I want to bring back corporal punishment. This is going a bit down a rabbit hole, but schools went from being mildly mischievous student rebellion, like the kind that we might see in the Breakfast Club, to basically being prison riots.
Attica.
Yeah.
If you start hearing that being screamed in school classrooms, we got a real problem. Tina, what's going on, Tina? How are you doing?
Yeah. Without getting away any state secrets, in 2009, something really big changed. And I remember getting the memo when the whole let's stop disciplining students because that's racist kind of thing, when it became official, and the whole promise program stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they had the teacher's best interest with that one.
Yeah. Well, one of my, to circle it back to the Breakfast Club, I mean, at the end of the day, what they were doing really wasn't bad. The worst that they did was when they went into the locker and got the weed. I never did that, by the way. I actually was I was only in trouble like twice in my entire school career. So I never did that.
Only twice? What a pansy.
That's right. And if I told you what it was for, you would really be disgusted with me.
So wait a minute. You couldn't have left it in the locker anyway. It would have been in the flower pot, right? Where's the Ancient One? Because he would have loved that.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, yes. Oh no, poor Ancient One. He would have just lost his mind for that. Yeah. Well, once I was yapping too much, and this is when I was still living in Ireland. I went to a little Protestant school, and I got hit on the wrist with the ruler, and it was my own fault. I was yapping. And the other time was when I was in choir, and I was 6 years old, and I started kind of screeching because I wanted to be an opera singer. And so they called my dad, and my dad had to talk with me and say I just couldn't do that in music class, and I had to sing the way the teacher wanted me to. That's the
Hey, Keely Chow.
Yeah.
And what's going on, son of a red shirt? Can't stay, just want to say hi, leave a like. Grew up during this time. John Hughes movies were key. Also, fond memories of Coppola's The Outsiders.
Oh, yes. That movie's amazing. Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's another good one.
Yep.
But I mean, we got into a bit of trouble. I mean, could you imagine living in Trenton? Yeah.
Oh, New Jersey.
Yeah, just New Jersey in general, really. But I'd gotten actually into a lot worse than what Bender's character did.
Oh no.
And for the most part, I just wound up getting some in-school suspension or just got some outer school suspension. There really wasn't a whole lot other than that. That was pretty much their answer to everything. Like weekend detentions, that was like pretty much unheard of until my brother started going to school. Now there's an 11-year gap between me and my brother. So, And what's up, Subhuman 84? Hope you were doing well.
To be honest, the best punishment and the only punishment that's still really allowed to give that's effective is the kids can't play on their sports team.
Yeah.
No, I did not soul assassin. Are you kidding me? I was a goody two shoes. I didn't want to misbehave.
The thing is, Miss Martin, is that these days, like maybe 1% of the kids in school play sports.
Yeah, but I've been very lucky. That's all I gotta say. When I find out a kid's on the football team, I'm like, yes, because all you have to do is call up the coach. Because the coach is actually the only person that's left that can actually do some discipline to students, like make them run laps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And how much longer is that going to last?
I don't know. Won't be during my lifetime.
They wanted to punish these kids, like at least nowadays, in my opinion. The first thing you need to do is take away all their electronic devices the minute they enter the school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Though I'll tell you what, I think it'd be easier to deny a crack addict their fix than to deny kids their cell phones.
You know what? They can do that to the adults too, because adults are just as hooked on cell phones as kids are.
Absolutely right.
No, Subhuman, I was not a bad girl. I wanted to please people. I wanted to behave. I wanted to learn. I was one of those little, not quite a teacher's pet, because I knew better than to be a teacher's pet. Because if you were a teacher's pet, then you could also get some serious backlash from your fellow students, and rightly so.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, Soul Assassin. I used to like to do that to my daughter. She'd be playing on the phone or be playing on the Xbox, and I would just shut the Wi-Fi off. She'd come running in. And what's going on? What happened? What's wrong? I think the best one I ever did to her is she was really agitating me. So I went out in the garage and I cut the power to the whole house.
Oh, that is extreme.
Well, sometimes you got to do that stuff. Uh-oh.
Yeah, Tommy did nothing wrong.
Yeah. I cut the power.
Yes, you will tell. I've learned that a long time ago. People talk. Two people can keep a secret if one of them is dead.
Damn. And she doesn't want to bring back corporal punishment. Okay.
Well, no, the hardest thing about corporal punishment is for the people that have to actually do it. It can get... don't even get me started. My mom had trouble with that.
In high school, by the time I got to high school, they didn't do that. They had it, in elementary / junior high.
Mm-hmm.
But in high school, yeah, they didn't, because by the time you get to be high school age, it's like, what's a freaking swat on the ass gonna do, but just make them more determined.
Yeah.
But when you're elementary, age or whatever, I mean, it actually, you actually minded your P's and Q's, because you didn't want the teacher to bring out the wood,
Mm-hmm.
and it's funny.
Wait a minute. Shellback, that's not always true because some people's cases, like Walton, for example, he would love if the teacher was going to bring out the Walton.
Well, yeah. I mean, he can take that up with Ashley or whatever. But what's funny though is the two teachers with the most gnarly paddles. When I was in the younger grades was the music teacher and the art teacher. But
I'd like to also say hello to Darth Toriel, the elf. Really, Miss Martin uses? Bad.
Yeah, she should speak. Darth Toriel. She's gone to the dark side.
That's kind of what happens if you're on Twitter too long.
Yeah.
People.
Twitter was a mistake.
Yeah, you know what? I seen this a few times. Like they're talking about the parents like after the fact. My dad didn't wait until after the fact. It'd be right there in the principal's office. But that was a different time too.
Yeah, I think we came of age at the time of the in-between when that era was leaving and the new psycho era was beginning. When it just became an insane asylum. Everyone is crazy.
If I got caught doing something, I just admitted what I did and told them why. Strangely enough, it got me out of a lot of trouble.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Would you say it with that same matter-of-fact voice?
Yeah. I stuffed a frog in that girl's, backpack because I don't like her.
And Steve did nothing wrong.
I'll bet you $1 million a teacher was ready to die laughing.
I don't know. I stood there straight back too. Looked her in the eye and said it exactly like that.
Well, there you are.
So
did you really do? Sorry.
No. Yes, go ahead. You go ahead.
Really
I was just gonna say, is that a true story?
Yeah.
Of course, I should know better. Yeah. Okay. Well.
All right. So the last question, rounding out the talk about the movie, is I want to get everybody's opinion about what they think the grading on this movie from 1 to 10 is.
Oh, 10 out of 10, easily. It's one of those movies that is just downright perfect, in my humble opinion.
Shellback?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty much, the quintessential, 80s movie. Like I said, it's if you're knocking 80s movies off the list to watch, and you haven't seen The Breakfast Club yet, then you need to sit down and rethink your life.
Yeah. Agreed.
Stieg.
I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Definitely a great movie, and like Shellback said, people should watch that one because it's a quintessential 80s movie, but it's also relevant even today, I think.
Oh yeah.
Because you could put that movie in any time period.
Yeah, I'd say so too. Yeah, for sure.
This turtle is driving me nuts with his scratching. But
I'm sorry.
I think that there's a whole lot in this movie that is definitely comparable to today, especially with all the ridiculousness that's going on. And there's just a lot of really fun moments that were really 80s inspired. Like some of the stupid stuff, like throwing the bologna up onto the statue. Like it's just odd goofball jokes that were prevalent in all the 80s movies at the time. And if you haven't seen this one, I would highly recommend watching this one. Now my phone's going to start blowing up, right, with 10 million messages. I swear, some people have just got like the worst timing in the whole world. It's like they know, like, oh yeah, he's doing something. Let me mess with him.
Put it on vibrate.
Yeah, no thanks. That's like a Walton thing. But I would definitely say there's a whole lot of moments in this movie. It's a coming of age tale. It's a bit of a comedy. It's a little bit of getting to know people that maybe you're not familiar with as well. It's like an eye opener as well. I think there's a whole lot in this film that is just, it's really not paid enough attention to. I think a lot of times it kind of gets overlooked, especially when you have movies like, for whatever reason, Ferris Bueller's Day Off became a much more popular movie. I think maybe because it was a little bit more action paced, because there was a lot more scenery in it, where this one pretty much takes place just inside the school and in like 2 locations pretty much for most of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I hate that movie. And I think Matthew Broderick sucks in it.
What? Gosh.
There you go.
Burn the witch. Burn the witch.
I never liked it. Don't know why. I hate it.
If Stig weighs as much as a duck, he's
Yeah.
What's up, Shadow Hawkbacks? Hope you are well. We were just talking about the Breakfast Club. Claire?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Subhuman. That would be a funny one if I didn't dress like a bum.
Yeah.
I think now if you asked Culture Casino that question, it would be a little bit more relevant.
Oh, does Barry Manilow know? Oh.
Did you rated his closet?
Yeah.
I think it was actually rated his wardrobe.
Yeah.
We had Dangerous Minds. Yeah, quite the change for schools. Yeah. It went from funny and ridiculous to dangerous. But really, that was the time period, though. Mortal Coil, what's up, buddy?
Yeah. Well, it was 2 entirely different locations too. You know, I mean, Dangerous Minds was a freaking, inner city school, and the Breakfast Club was like what, freaking
more
suburb California, or something. I don't know, all of the the discipline talk and stuff has got me. It wasn't Coach Carter. I don't think it was Coach Carter. But it was. I do believe it was Samuel L. Jackson. But I could be wrong on that too. But anyway, he played the principal. And no, it was Morgan Freeman.
Oh, you're thinking of Lean on Me.
And he played the principal, and he carried around a damn baseball bat. Yeah.
Lean on Me. Yeah, he'd go to jail nowadays. He wouldn't be allowed to do that.
He did nothing wrong either.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, didn't he say, "Call me Batman"?
I don't remember.
I don't know, but teachers today would go call me Buttman.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Steve.
No, it'd be call me he, him, she, her, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Oh, I got another thing going on here. There's always something going on. So
never a dull moment.
I'm telling you, it never ends with these stupid son of a bitches.
Yeah.
So my phone blowing up was actually Mrs. getting a hold of me and telling me for whatever reason the company that holds our mortgage decided to charge an extra $300 on this month's payment.
What the?
Then they must die.
Oh, well, they're going to get a call from me tomorrow, and I'm going to say, look, I'm going to contact a lawyer unless you immediately not only return that $300, but I want interest paid on it too. I want $100 fee for you just inconveniencing me, like you claim that I do if I don't pay my bills, right?
They're passing the inflation on to you.
I was going to say that's
tell
not
them
legal
phone
at all,
calls
right?
from you cost for $300.
Maybe they're pissed off because they found out I'm refinancing with my actual bank and I'm dumping them.
Yeah, but still, they can't be doing that.
No, they're supposed to give in writing if they're going to raise the rates or whatever. They just went ahead and just charge extra.
Nope, can't do that. Yeah, you're right. They do have to do that, and they well, there's a whole bunch of stuff they have to go through. You're gonna win, yay! Tommy's going to court,
It's going
or
to
he's
be
just
fun.
gonna yell at them on the phone.
Maybe I'll make enough money off them to buy another plot of land out here near my house.
Sounds like there's some toes that need to be nibbled.
They
Deploy the collective.
Apparently, they have not remembered the phone conversations they have had with me in the past. So I'm going to take it old school and take it right back to where I was a few years ago with them. The guy who wrote his own credit card agreement and won? No, I did not hear about that.
Huh, that sounds good. Let's do it.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh no, I'm heartbroken.
Well, what's he fired from?
I don't know.
Right.
I still think it's a shit movie, fired or not. I don't like it. Fuck Matthew Broderick.
Is it that you don't like Matthew Broderick in everything, or you just don't like him in that movie?
I don't like him. In that Godzilla movie, I was rooting for the lizards.
Uh-huh. You need to see Glory.
I hated that Godzilla movie.
Really? I kind of liked it.
I hated it. It wasn't Godzilla. It was just a giant, like, freaky looking lizard thing.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the one where Godzilla didn't even show up to the last 5 friggin' minutes or something?
Yeah, it was in the subway or something. I don't know what it was. It was, yeah, it was like a cave, wasn't it? And then it turned out it was like an eye blocking the. I don't know what it was. It had Matthew Broderick in it, so it was shit.
For reals, I challenge you. Watch Glory. That's
Well, they had all the babies in the Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, down by the subway.
The hatch
by the subway terminals and everything.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick did kill a guy in Ireland, I think. And I think he was drunk driving, but he got away with it because he's a celebrity.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he was drunk driving. He was with his girlfriend at the time, the chick from Ferris Bueller and Dirty Dancing. But then again, Americans kill a lot of people in Ireland because they don't know how to drive on the left side of the road. It's really...
Well, don't know how to drive on the right side either. But...
Oh, yeah, that too. It's a thing. Let me Google it. Yeah, but yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, he killed somebody, and what's her name? Jennifer
Grey.
Thank you, Jennifer Grey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yes, actors get away with murder all the time.
All the time. And if it's not actors, it's politicians or their kids. Because I remember reading about the one politician's kid who was drunk driving, hit something like, what was it, like 7 or 8 people, and like 3 to 4 of them died, and no charges were ever filed.
Or
Ted Jenner, too, killed a guy with a car, but got away because, trans people.
Yeah. And Ted Kennedy drunk drove off a bridge and drowned a woman, and he didn't get anything.
Is this too? Can anybody confirm this? Drunk driving in Ireland is a national pastime.
I can confirm no, because like many places, you get caught drunk driving, they'll like lock you up and throw away the key. There's just a lot of drunk walking in Ireland.
It's not just Ireland. I mean, the little, the area that I grew up in Missouri, it's drinking and driving was pretty much a sport.
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest problem is that,
but we knew how to do it.
That people didn't take the time to learn how to drive drunk. I mean, I think that's the biggest problem in society today.
Yeah,
I think the people who the driving instructors and stuff need to have people will get them drunk.
A crash course
drunk driving as part of the curriculum.
Yeah, crash course in it.
Yeah.
And those drunk goggles, that they put on you, that's
Mhm.
bullshit. It does not look like that. Yeah, not that I would know. Disclaimer.
Is it true the Prime Minister of Ireland is a beer keg?
Yeah.
No, he's a douchebag though. The Taoiseach, absolutely.
Here's a
Don't like
funny
him.
thing. Most people don't know about Ireland. Steve's people named parts of Ireland.
Yeah, they settled my home city because they went and like plundered monasteries, and then
We
They
didn't.
made
Well, we
cities.
plundered them, but we shagged the nuns too,
Hmm.
and the countryside. And
Yeah, I was gonna say there's people on both of those islands that have a little bit of Viking DNA
yeah.
in their family tree. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say, Stig, they shagged the monks.
you know,
I
he
don't know.
doesn't think I
Maybe
hate a
some of
movie
them
because
did.
of one person. Well, yes, I do. I can hate a lot of movies because of one person, and I actually do.
Yeah, Stig's people named half of Europe and America. Well, I don't know if you named America, but you landed here first.
We named it Vinland, and then
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah. Plus those crafty devils, they'd
I'm-
go to
Broderick was
places
drunk
like
when he was driving.
they'd go to places like Iceland and Greenland, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute. There's a lot of snow here. We're going to call this Greenland."
Well, actually,
And,
Yep.
when they landed back then, it was not snow covered.
yeah.
Yeah, because
But,
of global warming.
Right. But then, they get to Iceland, they're like, "Oh, hey, it's nice here. We're going to call it Iceland so people will stay away."
Yeah, let's see.
another Viking. Why would we go to woke countries? No, we're gonna stay in Norway.
Well,
What
they
about-
weren't woke
What
back
about
then.
Sweden?
No, back then, and holy heck, there was no wokeness back then. And no safe spaces either,
Yeah.
and no pronouns.
That's true. Well, it'd be too hard for us to understand them, anyways.
Climate change. Yeah, climate change is actually something that naturally occurs. They have proven this before in the past, before people got all into their feels about it and wanted to run with an agenda, because they have core samples from the planet, like down, they take them from places like Antarctica or up in the Arctic region in the north, and they take these core samples and they could see the changes, of weather patterns through the history through the ice core samples.
Hmm.
Well, that's why they changed the label or the name or whatever to climate change from global warming, because they can they can better fit the narrative around the words climate change.
Yes,
But,
it's climate change is natural. It occurs. The planet normally heats up and
Yeah.
cools down, and I just don't understand why these soft brain idiots just don't understand that.
Well, I think what it was is that they had to change the name from global warming when the polar ice caps actually increased in size. So they're like, "Oh shit, wait a minute."
Well, I mean, there's so many other things that can affect the climate too, from that standpoint, from way back when. I mean,
Yeah.
they talk about like the axis, like every what is it, like every 100 years or something, like the axis
Yeah.
just wobbles just a little bit, and
Mhm.
it throws everything off in the climate zones. That's why
Right.
you see like places in Russia were getting warmer that have traditionally been cold for like 100 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
But I mean, if you haven't seen this one, I would highly recommend you go out and see the Breakfast Club. I'm really not sure which service is actually available on. And I know we were talking about it earlier. They were talking about trying to reboot this one. So far, they have failed to push that through. There's been quite a few movies that they were talking about redoing.
Like I said, unless they do like a reunion movie, you know, with the same cast, you know, and be like, oh, hey, what have you been up to the last, 30 years or whatever? Then yeah, I don't want it.
No, I agree with that. Any closing thoughts on this, Teresa?
No, I think said most of what we did. It's definitely a great snapshot in time and one of those great movies where you can look at it and identify so many different aspects of the characters and of the social situation and interpret it in many different ways. It's a lovely movie.
Awesome. Stieg.
Excellent movie. I probably should rewatch it again soon. But yeah, if someone in the chat hasn't watched it, go watch it. Really. Also, Rob Schneider. I hate him too.
What?
What the?
Oh man.
Stieg's on the hate train today.
Yeah, he's a shit actor, and everything he's in is shit because of him.
What? No.
Wait a second.
No, because the water boy is not shit, okay? Grown Ups is not shit, okay? And he's in both of those. And both of those are awesome movies.
He's the turd in the water boy carries around.
Oh, gosh.
Jesus.
Oh, and Jack Black.
You don't like him?
What?
Yeah, I hate him.
Oh my God, School of Rock?
Freaky
Seriously?
little gnome creature. Fuck him.
I love School of Rock.
Oh my gosh.
Chris Fisk. A
I
modern
think
breakfast.
Stieg is just trying to trigger now. I think.
No.
I'm laughing. It's funny. Chris Fisk says a modern breakfast would be a nightmare of identity politics, the lesbian, the black, gender fluid, the trans, and the Latinx.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Right.
You're probably not too far off on that one.
Yeah.
Let's not and say we did.
And it would be all the white people's fault.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, it's because the principal would still be white, because
Of course.
let's face
Yeah,
it, he was the
supremacy
bad
and
guy,
all.
Yeah, the patriarchy, all of it, right there. Boom. And what's going on, Slasher?
What's up, man?
Not much. We just wrapped up on the Breakfast Club. Did you want to share anything before we close that topic out?
That's kind of like one of my childhood movies. Back when we used to go on, my aunt and uncle's house for summer vacation. My two cousins, we would usually have to kind of gather away from my aunt and uncle because of all the curse words in the movie, shit like that. I love that movie.
It's definitely a fun movie.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm.
I picked up a steelbook edition of it. I was lucky enough to find one, and it looks like the school locker. And it's supposed to have some extras in there. I don't know if there's extra footage. I didn't read it all the way through. I just seen Steelbook, seen Breakfast Club, and I snagged it. I didn't even think twice. I didn't worry about it. But I can't wait to watch one to see what kind of extras might possibly be on there, because almost every Steelbook has some kind of extras you've never seen before. So
Chaos Hoy in the chat is severely triggered by my dismissal of actors.
How dare you?
what's wrong with you? Damn it, Steve.
Getting all Greta Thunberg on you.
Jim Carrey is on my list too.
Yeah.
But I will still watch the movie with him in it, though.
He's gotten kind of whacked out.
Yeah. And Russell Brand.
in his real life, but
Anybody ever try to take your manhood?
Oh, and Tracy Morgan. Hate him.
Are you high?
I completely agree with those little shorts.
Tracy Morgan, why, man? Why?
Because he's an idiot.
He's kind of annoying.
He's big time annoying.
Well, he's
You know
a
what?
comedian.
You know that wedding movie, or where it was a remake, A Death at a Funeral. That was it. And when Danny Glover sat on Tracy Morgan's hand, I enjoyed that because it was Tracy Morgan.
Oh, Jesus, Steve. I got nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next topic, once again, I'm going to run a short clip, let everybody see what's going on. For those of you who are familiar with it, you're going to get the feels. For those of you who don't really know it so well, maybe you'll get a little bit of an understanding of what this one is about. And we're going to be talking about the tick.
Destiny's powerful hand has made the bed of my future, and it's up to me to lie in it. Villains, I say to you now, knock off all that evil!
Tell me, do you have a girlfriend?
Aha! I'll bounce off that flagpole and flip to safety. Aha! I'll bounce off that broad, flat surface. I am mighty! I've a heart as big as the moon, as warm as bathwater. We're superheroes, man. We don't have time to be charming. Do you dig? City, it is I, the Tick, your destined defender. Show me where it hurts. Step one, we must choose battle cries. You know, the cries we always emit just before leaping into battle. Spoon!
So before we actually get in that, we do have a couple panelists that have got to step out. So Steve Kenobi, let everybody know where you're at and what you're doing, if you so choose to, because you know what, people, you need to subscribe to Steve because we need to see another top 5.
Probably going to put Rob Schneider on it.
Oh.
But usually on OG Star Wars' channel on Thursdays and Jade Shadow on Fridays, and sometimes on Miss Martin Muses' channel on Saturdays. That's about it. Fuck Roy, Rob Schneider and Tracy Morgan.
Let it all out, Steve. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, fuck them. I hate them.
What about David Spade? Cherry asked.
Yeah, he's okay.
So make
What
sure
about,
to check out Steve.
Hey, Stig, what about Kevin Hart?
Not sure who that is, so I hate him too then.
If you'd see him, you'd know exactly who he is.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
He's the short black guy in the new Jumanji movies.
I haven't seen those.
Oh.
Isn't Jack Black in them?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. That's why I haven't seen them.
And we got one more question here for you, Steve, from Bone.
Who I like the least? I think they're both shit. No, they are though. They're annoying too.
Yeah.
Mm.
See,
Down
you're
Periscope,
triggering everybody.
I don't know. Down Periscope wasn't fun. Rob Schneider was in it.
Well, at least Queen Latifah had some cool music back in the day. Yeah.
No.
She did.
Yeah, one or two songs.
And
She's,
Carolina
she's
Chris,
tolerable
what's
when
going
she
on?
shuts up.
Oh God, Steve.
Cake.
See, now you got everybody in the chat wondering what else you hate. Ms. Martin Muses,
Cakes and
let them know
pies,
where they
cakes
can
and
find you and
pies.
what you got going on.
Okay, you can find me here on Miss Martin Muses on YouTube, where I talk about what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Right now, I've got a little series that usually airs on Tuesdays called The Triple Review. A week from tomorrow, we're going to do Thanksgiving movies, including planes, trains, and automobiles. Saturdays, it is the Two Towers book discussion. And I've also got an ongoing series with My Nerdy Home and Biggles Mets with the 10th anniversary of Once Upon a Time. So come over and say hi.
Awesome. I know your link has been dropped a couple times already, but if somebody can throw it in the chat one more time for her. And Steeg's is on the description, so if you want, make sure to check that out and subscribe to Steeg as well. I want to thank you both for being on today. A fun discussion about the Breakfast Club. So
Well, thank you.
no,
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always fun to be able to talk about these things from the past that we love so much.
Mhm.
Because if we don't talk about them, who is going to?
Precisely.
Hopefully
Okay.
not Rob Schneider.
And we seem to have lost the turtle, but
Well, we'll find him. He'll come crawling back.
eventually.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tommy. I'm heading out. Goodbye.
All right,
Yeah,
take care.
helping
Thank you
out,
for
dude.
stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh,
And,
you're both always welcome anytime you want to stop in. I will talk to you later about the group chat that I have that is for the links and for discussion of the show only. If you guys both want to be put in that for the links in case you ever want to stop in. Open panel. Anybody's allowed to come on anytime they want as part of that group. Or if somebody actually DMs me and say, hey, I want to come on and talk about something in particular, you could bring a topic with you if there is something you really want to discuss on the show. So
cool.
Everybody's always welcome.
Sounds great. I'll you know what? We should do Police Academy sometime.
All right. I can set that up. I can pull clips and everything for it, and just let me know when you want to do it.
Yeah, there's I don't think I hate anyone in that one.
Okay.
All right, Miss
Anyway,
Martin.
take care and be well.
Okay. See you.
Take care,
Goodbye.
Steve.
Have a good one.
Right.
All right, so the tick. Do you guys both remember the tick?
I remember it. I didn't get to catch too much of it.
Yeah, I remember it, but I'm yeah, it's kind of the same. I don't remember a whole lot about it.
Like I would catch an episode here and there. I wouldn't catch it every week.
Well, I recently got back into like trying to watch some of the tickets because I finally got around to watching the series on what is that, Prime?
The last one they did, right?
Yeah, the live action. That was actually fairly decent. I mean, granted, it wasn't spot on for the cartoons, but it was close enough that it looks like they paid at least some attention to it and some kind of, respect to the show. Thank you, Bone. I appreciate that. And Police Academy. Oh my God. Yeah, I love Police Academy. Daytona Falls. I love the Tick. It's been a long time. The Tick was actually started off as a character. It was created in 1986 by Ben Edlund. It was for a newspaper. So it was a newsletter mascot for the New England comics chain. And in 1988, he got an independent comic book. And then 1994, Fox actually aired a 2 live action series of the Tick. And it wound up going a few seasons And then, of course, they had the video game and other type of merchandising. They actually had figures for the Tick as well, because my brother had a few of those.
Mhm.
They had another live action. It was like an early 2000, and it flopped bad. I don't remember who did it, but it was horrible from everything I heard about it. I
The one
still
with
refuse to watch
Patrick
it to this day.
Patrick Warburton as the Tick, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 I refuse to watch it.
I
I just refuse.
never caught those. I just remember the commercials, and then I remember the show was just gone.
Oh, I'm sure Daytona, Naked Gun, and the Airplane movie seemed to influence Tick classics. Yeah, and there was a whole lot of that just like slapstick stuff that we seen in the early '80s. That was definitely seen throughout the Tick, both in the cartoon and the newer live action that they had on Prime, which I think they, like I said, they did fairly well, because in those clips that I was showing, there's one scene where the Tick's falling in the cartoon, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll grab that flagpole to stop my fall." They actually do something like that in the Prime version as well, where he's grabbing the flag and it breaks and he keeps going down. But the only difference in the cartoon, when he lands on the pavement, he lands feet first and he goes right through the pavement. He's basically standing up, holding the flag, and you just see like his shoulders and the top half of his chest above the sidewalk. In the Prime version, he lands face first and just splats on the concrete and breaks the concrete up. But it was paying a little bit of respect to the cartoon that came before it. And there was a lot of other things, like he didn't come up with Spoon right away. It came up with, unfortunately in the Prime one much later in the cartoon, but it was like an end scene credit. There was no like real reflection on it. He's just walking out of the building at the end of season 2, and then he says Spoon. So I forgot to mention Michael Cera, Seth Rogen, Kristen Stewart. I hate them too. Big time. Well, I hope that hate will help you sleep very well, Steve. I'm sure it will.
Michael Cera, that's not McLovin, is it?
No, he's the Michael Cera's the other one from Superbad, the main kid from Superbad.
Okay.
Grew up part of Three Stooges, Tom and Jerry, yeah. But did you ever see any of the action figures, Slasher? Because I know.
When we were looking at pictures of them last week, I think I had never seen them in the stores. Never saw them in the stores around my neighborhood.
They were cool looking. They looked just like the actual cartoon, which is something that they don't always do very well when they translate over the toys, but these did. They translated very well over into the toys. When I eventually dig out those toys, I'm going to wind up doing a toy video on them and show them off. I may even make that as an exclusive over on Collectible Pass with Vinny Tartamelli, since we talk about toys a lot more exclusively just on that channel for now. So that might be one of the ones I do over there. But they are very interesting looking. Like I said, very much like the cartoon. A lot of attention to the detail that was in the cartoon to create those figures, and they didn't just try to make a figure just for making a figure's sake, where some of them were really bad looking in the 80s.
What company put those out?
I am drawing a blank off the top of my head. I will actually have to
Playmates?
look that up.
It wasn't Playmates, was it?
I'm not sure.
It seems like it would have been a perfect property for Playmates to pick up.
Tick action figures, blah blah blah. The Tick. Bondi?
Oh, okay. Because I remember Playmates after Ninja Turtles hit big, Playmates was making other stuff. They had the Dick Tracy figures. They had Toxic Crusaders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All those wacky ones that they were putting out. Yeah. So it was Bondi early on. Bondi made the first. Let's see. How many years worth did they do? They did a few years under Bondi. They did all the way up until the end of 95. Hold on. Yeah, they did 2 years, 94 to 95. Then in '96, Gordy Toys took over.
The cartoon didn't last very long, right?
No, I think it was 2 or 3 seasons, I think, at the most. But it was a funny cartoon. It was actually, there was a whole lot of those type of like slapstick type of cartoons that were coming out at the time. Well, we lost the Shellback again. And damn librarians.
The one thing I remember from the cartoon was when Chairface Charlie tried to write his name on the moon. And I think he got like the C, the H, and the A. I think that's as far as he got. And then for the rest of the series, those 3 letters are burnt on the moon. I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, here's another thing that I did like what they did in the Prime. They did bring back some of the characters from the cartoon. Granted, I don't recall them looking exactly like that, and it's been a while since I've seen the cartoon because it's hard to find those copies of those shows anymore. And it just seems like none of the streaming services are carrying them. Like Prime had it at one time, the cartoons on there, but now it's hidden behind a paywall. Which I hate when they do that shit. A friend I knew in grade school had the Tick Stretch Armstrong. He got it in Korea of all places. That sounds pretty interesting.
I didn't even know they made a Tick Stretch Armstrong.
Oh, they did a few different Stretch Armstrongs with different characters. Yeah, Shellback is a ninja because he disappeared. Make sure to check out Shellback at his channel. He does an anime show on Saturdays. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it back. He had something that kind of popped up in his shell at the last minute, and he had to duck. I think he's getting into a race with another hare. I'm not really sure. He's got to prime up the engines or something. That's the life of a turtle. That's exactly what happens. But I mean, there was a lot of, I don't know if they're continuing the Prime series or not, and it kind of left on it kind of ended on a weird cliffhanger, and I think they might have just ended the series. I'm not sure, but everything I've seen what they were doing so far, it's paying a lot of respect to the old cartoon. The comic book I never got as a kid. That's one of those things I missed out on, and I haven't even seen reprints of it. So I'm probably gonna have to take a look for it because it's kind of like you remember the Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they did the Max, as far as a translation from the comics,
it was the exact same thing. If you were to read
just about.
Yep.
There was a few changes in there, but they pretty much followed the script from the comic book, which was awesome to see the Max brought to life in that cartoon.
I also thought it was
MTV.
awesome I thought it was awesome that they actually used Sam Keith's art for it. I thought that was really cool.
Yes. Anybody remember the Great Space Coaster? I do remember it. It's the Great Space Coaster. Off we go on a Great Space Coaster. Yeah, I remember that.
I remember the song more than the fucking show itself.
Hulk Hogan Stretch Armstrong. So yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wait,
they
okay.
had a bunch of them.
That's right. I did have one of those stretch. I had a Roddy Piper stretch, but it wasn't called Stretch Armstrong. I think they were just called whatever, like stretchable, whatever the fuck. LJN.
Yeah, stretchable Hogan. Yeah. Well, the Stretch Armstrong is actually the trademark name for that particular character. Yeah. But they did have other characters that came with the Stretch Armstrong line because it was still part of it. Like they had some kind of lizard guy or something like that. Yeah. That was also stretchy. He left the polish the shell. Yes, and Walton actually supplies. It's a special wax. It's a special enamel wax for turtles. I've done that before. I've shared that with people. It's Walton has got a lot of amazing products out there. Yeah, there it goes. Got the feels about that one now. Good. Now let the heat flow through you. Yeah, Stieg is doing that right now. Probably sleeping like a baby already. I had a Stretch Armstrong. I was very young when I broke it, and there was sticky crap everywhere. Yeah, I remember the original one. Hey, Lasso of Truth, what's going on? Oh. I remember those early Stretch Armstrong figures. They used to come with Band-Aids, too. So if it
Oh, for
broke in a spot,
patches?
yeah, basically, yeah, they were like these stretchy band-aids that you would put on Stretch Armstrong to keep the gel from inside from leaking out. And what's going on, Zachariah 315? What is
Oh.
up? Turtle X, absolutely.
See, I remember when the Roddy Piper stretchy figure I had, I remember sand was coming out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, like the early Stretch Armstrong, like I found the box on my dad's house, but I didn't find the figure. I think the figure had popped a whole bunch of leaks sitting down in the basement. And what happens is the gel that's inside of it, what leaks out will leak out, but the rest of it, once it hits the air, it starts hardening. And I think that the body of my Stretch Armstrong turned into a big giant brick, and my dad just tossed it. But yeah, like, you know, talking about that tick show though, I enjoyed the holy hell of it. I would like to watch the cartoon again because there's some things that I would like to compare with the newer version on Prime just to see how many things they did change. One of the admissions, of course, they didn't have American Made in it, and they didn't have some of the other characters like that. What's his name? Danger Mouse, or the one that kind of looks like a bat.
Yeah. I forgot what his name was. All right. The only other character other than Tick and Arthur I really remember most of all was Chairface Charlie. What up, Darius?
What's up,
How you doing,
Darius?
bro?
Hope you're doing well. Anybody remember 70s, 80s Weeble Wobbles? Yes. Yes, I have some of the early 70s ones, Daytona. And I actually have a play set. It was like a ranch farmhouse for the Weeble Wobbles that was over the house with all the stuff that I brought back from my dad's. There was also like it was like a camper van, and it had a little hitch on the back with a boat. I don't remember if I recovered the boat or not. I'm hoping my daughter didn't throw it out thinking it was just like a trash like toy boat. But yeah, I found a whole bunch of those, a whole bunch of the figures. Like actually almost all the accessories that came with the farmhouse looked like they were in it too, including a couple benches, a table, feeding trough for animals. Like it was actually, there was a lot of stuff that Weeble Wobbles had that most people don't realize. There was a lot of cool stuff with that. What about the Patrick Warburton? Now, I never watched it. I didn't want to watch it.
Damn,
It
I
just
never saw it.
looked bad to me. And Chris, I think I gave you a wrench. You know, you could plug Infinitails. Infinitail, yeah. Make sure
I
you
never
unplug
watched
that.
Count Duckula.
Deflator Mouse. Yes, thank you, Chris. What's up, Bruce Lombardo? Just stepped in and going to say, Jason, the Wheeled
What's
Warriors theme song. Galaxy Rangers, no guts, no glory.
What's up, Bruce?
TWTG content. What's going on, Chris?
What
Hope
up,
you are
Chris?
well, friend.
How you doing, bro?
Chris has been an absolute warrior with the morons on Twitter lately. Not taking a back seat to them. They've been outrageous the past like week. And we were in a war of freaking multiple words with a couple of feminazis, and God, they didn't want to quit. So I just got tired of trying to reason with them, and I just started insulting them until they started blocking. So I wasn't allowed to play Weeble Wobbles after I started using them with my slingshot. That's absolutely hilarious. Those things were tough too, man. Holy shit. You could hurt somebody with those things. There it is.
There are a lot of toys that you could do some damage with back in the day.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't checked out Infinitail Chronicles, War of the Trees, this is Chris's first book that he's putting out there. It's already completed. It's already moving into the stage of getting ready to start shipping out to people. So if you want to jump on board for that one, at least check it out. Take a look. Share it out on Twitter for him. Make sure he gets a lot more attention for this book because everything he's doing with it looks amazing. And he does have a background in with gaming, like fantasy gaming and stuff like that. So yeah, unfortunately that seems to be going around a lot more. people are just getting irritated. The jobs are just ridiculous anymore. Speaking of damage dealing toys, lawn darts. Yeah.
How have I been? I've been okay, Bruce. Sorry you had a sucky day, Bruce.
Now, one of the things we did is we didn't play with lawn darts quite as much. We actually used to just play with regular, like, dartboard darts. And we used to play this game where we'd stand about 5 feet apart and we would try to get as close to our feet as we could. They almost never got to the floor. They always wind up hitting the shoes, hitting the shins. Good times. Good times.
No trips to the emergency room?
Nah, come on, man. It's just a dart. It's a miracle we survived. Oh, okay. Whammo is one of the best misinterpreted companies of all times. Yeah. Yeah, right. There was a lot of those companies that were trying to get onto that, and that all started with the Nerf craze. They were trying to make toys that were safer because that was when parents were getting into their feels about kids getting hurt. Shit tanks and grease traps.
What was the company that got shit because their guns were too realistic looking? Was it Intertech?
Yes. Yes. Because they were making the water guns.
Yeah.
And they
those
were
solid black ones that looked like they looked like actual fucking guns.
What's going on, Captain Truck?
Oh, Captain Truck. How you
no
doing,
icon. No icon anymore? Not seeing on my end. Between lawn darts and you brave souls that went to Action Park. Yeah.
I never went to Action Park. You?
I went there once.
Did you injure yourself?
No.
Did you lose any teeth or break a bone or something?
Nope, still got everything. No, I walked away from there. There was a couple other parks that I'd only gone to once, and that was because they disappeared. There was one called Magic Valley or something like that. Out like I want to say it was out towards like the Poconos or something like that. And their whole theme was the Keystone Cops on the billboards and in the park and everything like that. It was a really cool place. They had a lot of good rides and everything, but I think they were so far off the beaten path that they didn't get the traffic that they probably could have if they were like more like centralized like the other big parks like Hershey Park and even a smaller one which is called Dutch Wonderland, which actually is still in existence as far as I know. But they were right near main road, so they got the traffic. This one was like way out in the middle of nowhere.
You were probably getting all the same since you were up here in like the 80s and 90s. You were probably getting all the same commercials that I was here in New York for all the all the surrounding state parks and shit like that, right? Do you remember this one?
Yeah.
I think it's called Space Farms. Do you remember this one?
It sounds familiar.
I heard some crazy shit that they would just put like a tiger behind a chain link fence. Like that's how careless they were about certain things. I'm pretty sure it's called Space Farms.
It definitely sounds familiar. I mean, because my dad took me a lot of those weird places. Like there was the one place out there. It's one is in Jersey and one is in PA. One was called Storybook Land. I think that's the one in PA. And then there was another one in Jersey called, oh, Jesus, what was it called? Land of Make Believe.
Yeah, we had commercials for Land of Make Believe here. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I think Land of Make Believe was in PA, and Storybook Land is the one in Jersey. And it's the one in Jersey was creepy as shit. Like the wolf looked like it was almost like a taxidermied wolf. Like it was creepy as hell.
I don't remember seeing commercials for that one, but the other one, yes.
Yeah, and the one in PA, they had a few setups and like stands like the same thing, like you're walking through the old lady who lived in a shoe and stuff like that. And then they had one of their big things there was this big set of rocks that was called the Jenny Jump. And the story was the girl was getting chased by Indians and the father was at the bottom of this cliff and was just telling her, jump, Jenny, jump. And the story ends like that because nobody knows if Jenny actually survived. weird, like for kids. But they had like they always had like a Santa Claus set up with a North Pole where they had Santa doing pictures for kids, during the season. It's interesting stuff. I mean, simple stuff like that is just kind of missing from today's society because everything's all about, being bigger and being more ridiculous. And Chris, remember when Tesla's got in trouble with the U.S. government for making model jets that predicted several skunkwork jets in the U.S. military? I do recall something about that because it's like giving away government secrets and stuff. Yeah, I'm sure that stuff really exists too. They claim it doesn't, but yeah. Captain Trek, now I see your icon. Awesome. Yeah, you can't sit at the Lazar Perch in Nevada and take photos of all the Dreamland aircraft anymore. Huh. A YF-19 stealth fighter. Yeah, it was probably something that they were working on and they never released. But yeah, like a lot of those old parks like that, because I remember like Dutch Wonderland was another one. They had like a lot of the little simple things like Storybook Land and Land of Make Believe had, where they had like the little setups like you were walking through, like whether it was Alice in Wonderland section, or whatever. And one of the things that Dutch Wonderland had is there was an old TV show out at the time, and it was oh Jesus, what was the name of this chief? He was an Indian chief. Failing to remember his name, but he had a TV show at the time, and he was in the park at certain times of the year and certain times of the day, and he would literally just sign photos for kids that knew his show, which was kind of cool. It's like seeing like like
What show is this?
Semi-celebrity. I'm trying to remember the name of it. He was an Indian chief, and it was on TV. And I actually still have some of the postcards that he used to sign. And I'd just be damned if I could remember what his name is offhand.
Was it Billy from Predator?
No. This guy was actually...
I'm just kidding.
No, this guy was actually a legitimate Indian chief.
Hang on,
Chief Halftown. His name was Chief Halftown, and he actually had a show on back then. I want to say it ran from the 70s into the early 80s. It was kind of like, it was almost kind of like a Mr. Rogers type of show, but was with a chief sitting there talking about topics to little kids.
Never heard of this at all. Was this a PBS show?
Really nice guy, too.
Was this a PBS show?
I believe so. Yeah. But, of course, eventually that park wound up moving away from that, and they started getting into rides, and it became more like a traditional theme park, like all the other ones. Like even Hershey Park, to a degree, didn't start off with all the rides that it has now. They started off with a few smaller rides, and everything else was more themed around, the actual Hershey's products with characters running around and shit.
Astroland. I think there was. Was it Jersey or Pennsylvania where Astroland was? I can't remember. It might have even been upstate. Here.
I forget where that one was. I don't remember hearing about that one for very long. What was the other one? Began with a D.
I remember the commercials. That's what I mostly remember.
God, there was one park because it was another one. It was kind of like Action Park. They always said people got injured where they went there every time. And I want to say that one was in Jersey, but it might have been PA. Because there were so many of those parks that were so close to each other back then. It's hard to remember.
Yeah, like Great Adventure was Jersey, right?
That's out in Jacksonville, New Jersey.
Great Adventure once in my life.
Yeah, that was another one. I liked it back in the day, but as the years went on, it became less fun and a lot more restrictive about everything. Christina Payne, welcome. I hope you're doing well. And what's going on, LDG?
Oh,
Brightest day.
I'd say.
What up?
Hello. How you folks doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the other park because I remember at the time the other park actually they were promoting it. They were saying they had the tallest roller coaster with the largest drop. And I want to say it was like a 200 and some odd foot drop. And I remember I went on that ride and it was the worst wooden roller coaster ride I'd ever been on in my life. It was shite because after that first drop, the bunny hops were garbage. They were too tall and they were too stretched out. They weren't fun. You didn't feel like you were jumping out of the seat. Like, yeah, it was the initial drop. And once the initial drop was over, the rest of the ride was just trash. And I forget the name of that park. I do remember that the name of the park, I'm pretty sure it began with a D. But it's been so long.
I didn't go to Great Adventure till it was like that 8th grade, like end of the year class trip, and it was around the time where they first had the Batman ride.
Oh yeah.
That was the first roller coaster I ever went on. Was the Batman?
Well, I didn't go on when they first opened it, but yes I did, and I tried to go
like
on it
93. I think it was like 93.
Well, I tried to go on it years later, and I want to say that this was probably like 97 or so, 96 or 97. And they actually had restrictions for people getting on that ride. Like if you had any kind of like earrings or anything like that or eye rings, they wanted you to take all that shit out before you got on the ride. And I was like, why? Oh, well, it could fly off. Like, yeah, okay. This thing is not like traveling at speeds of a space shuttle. It's not going to rip this shit off my face. Get out of here with that freaking nonsense. I'll accept, well, we can't do that because you might bleed on somebody. I was like, you people are ridiculous. So I acted like I was taking it off and they didn't look and I just kept my hand over it and then the ride started. Yeah. Then they bitched me out at the end of the ride and I was like, oh, well, tough shit, huh? Already off it now. Look, it never flew out. Chris,
yeah,
it's fun for the whole family.
You know, especially around that time, they had to cover their asses or anything legal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but they were... It's basically the Karen approach to everything. Oh, it's going to hurt somebody. They were just so stupid with it. But yeah, fun for the whole family. Tired of your little shit, son? Bring him to Action Land and we'll fuck him up for you. Pretty much. And Daytona Falls. So Cedar Point was awesome. Cedar Point, that's the one in Ohio, I believe, right? I'm pretty sure. Isn't that the one in Ohio? Cedar Point? Because I know one of them. I thought it was Cedar Point had... at the time, it had the world record for the longest wooden roller coaster. And I know like some of the other roller coasters wound up in other places. Like there's a place called Knoebels up in PA and it's towards the Poconos. Oh, we got somebody else with us. What up, Captain Trek?
Not much. How you doing, man?
There was a roller coaster. It was actually, I want to say it was in Coney Island originally. And this roller coaster wound up going to Knoebels Park. They stripped it down and they reset it up in Knoebels, and it's still sitting there to this day. They renamed it. And I think they called it the Phoenix after they renamed it. I think it was originally called the Comet when it was in Coney Island. But yeah, that damn old ass roller coaster still sitting there to this day. And that one, bunny hops are freaking amazing. Like you literally feel like you're going to fly out of this thing. It doesn't have seatbelts either. It just has the bar that comes back. So if you kind of let yourself go a little bit, you'll lift up in the seat. And now if you got a small child, well, you got to pay attention because they will literally come out. I had my daughter with me and I had to keep my hand on her because the first bunny hop, she almost went flying out of the car. Cedar Point had the longest wooden coaster in Demon Drop. Yeah, I thought that's what I remember. That Cedar Point had the longest wooden roller coaster. I don't know if it still is the longest wooden roller coaster. It's probably been outdone by now because that's one thing that all those action parks did, all those theme parks did. They were always trying to one up somebody else to try to get into the record books because that's what was going to generate interest for somebody going to their park.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we're the world's longest, we're the world's highest, we're the world's whatever.
World's fastest?
Yeah, fastest.
World's deadliest.
The rocket? You sure? I thought that was the one that was out of Coney Island. The one in Knoebels. No, I thought that was called the Comet.
You ever been to Rye Playland, Tommy, while you were up here?
No.
It's a pretty rundown place. They got this rickety-ass coaster called the Dragon Coaster. And like you were saying before, there's a certain part where you feel like you are going to go launching out of the fucking cart, like bread out of a toaster.
Oh yeah, you were right. Why was I thinking that was it? So that was called the Rocket from San Antonio. I could have swore that was the one from Long Island. If that's not the one from Long Island, which is the one from Long Island that wound up getting a home somewhere else?
I don't even know of any of the parks on Long Island.
No, that's interesting. Thank you, Bruce. Yeah. And still running today. Yeah, they actually cleaned it up really well when they redid it. And they also built another wooden roller coaster over there, like a brand new one in the park, which is not as fun as the Phoenix. The Phoenix is 10 times better. Yeah, that is the one cool thing about Knoebels is, when you go there, you don't pay like an admission to get into the park. You just buy tickets. Or you could buy like a wristband and just go on all the rides all day long. Daytona Beachside had a coaster that's so eaten away by the salty beach air that it broke and injured a bunch of people. Yeah, that's a shame. That's one of those things they got to keep up with. That was probably a good thing when the Steel Pier went down in Atlantic City because they had a lot of antiquated rides there. It was probably a good thing that went down because I'm sure somebody was going to get injured at some point. And there was another one that used to be in no, it wasn't Asbury Park. It was Brigantine, New Jersey. They had a place called Brigantine Castle right off the pier, and they had a few rides too. But the Brigantine Castle was like a year-round haunted mansion, like amazing. Like this place was like absolutely amazing. Probably the best haunted house setup I had ever seen in my life. Unfortunately, somebody went in there, and I don't know if somebody went in there and purposely burned it down, or if something went wrong with the wiring with all the animatronics they had in there in the place, but the whole pier burned down to the ground. It was such a shame to see that thing go. Yeah, it was amazing. I remember my younger brother who was in there, he couldn't have been no more than like 4 years old at the time, 4 or 5. And they had some brand new stuff in there, and he literally, it scared him so bad, he 100% just pissed himself there walking through. I thought it was hysterical. My father was yelling at me. I was laughing my ass off. I was calling him the Pisperado. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Good old days. Rocky Mountain Construction. Nice. Go ahead, Captain Trek. Do you have
there was a theme park I never got to visit in Kansas City, Missouri. It closed before I got the chance to go. It was called Fairyland. It had like 3 roller coasters and an 8-story Ferris wheel. Wow. I mean, I remember it was back into the late 90s. They still had the ruins of it up. And it still looked like it would have been a fun place. Dangerous at that point, but fun.
Well, even at the height, some of those places were actually quite dangerous. But that was part of the fun to it. Like, I mean, now everything is so watered down with a lot of these rides with all the safety harnesses and everything else. I mean, it to me, it just doesn't seem as much fun anymore.
No. I mean, safety harness, everything. It's like, gotta have the 5-point thing. Good
Yeah.
God. I want a little bit of fun.
I mean, what's next? Do they start putting helmets on people when they get on the roller coasters?
Probably.
Probably.
Don't doubt it.
Chris says there's an amusement park here in New Hampshire called Kenobi Lake Park, or Kanabi. There was a ride called the Turkish Twist. Think human centrifuge. Some kid got flung out of it back in the 80s and painted the trees. Wow.
Ooh, yeah. Well, one of the reasons they did add a lot of the harnesses, you did have people not only who flew up, but there would be people who would deliberately stand up on roller coasters.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like I was talking about the Phoenix one, like they never added any additional safety straps or anything. So that bar is the only thing holding you down. And if you're small enough, you literally can lift yourself up. Well, granted, you can't fully stand up, but you can lift yourself up enough that if you're not really keeping your feet underneath the front of that thing where you're sitting, you could potentially fly out. And Daytona Falls, yes. The bungee cord slingshot rides, yeah. I also remember I was this was King's Dominion. It was right outside of Richmond, Virginia. And King's Dominion is still there, but at the time when I went, they had a Wayne's World setup portion of the park with the hurler roller coaster ride and the Makita's donut stand and a bunch of other things. But one of the things that they had right outside of that was this slingshot thing. And basically you would get in this harness and they called it the Superman slingshot. So they would bring you up and they would let you fly out and you would plummet to the ground, cords would stretch, and then you would fly out like Superman. I thought it was fun. I went on it and had a blast. Yeah. Sandusky, Ohio. Yep. That's what I thought. I thought I was right on that one. Apple Country Fair. Huh. Jazzland will never be opened again. And it's a shame. Like some of those older places like that, they were enjoyable. And it's basically that PC culture that wound up shutting a lot of these places down because they said they were too dangerous. And these kids today are so pampered. Like everything's like overly safe, and got to worry about people getting sick or disoriented. Like that's not the point of a ride. The point of a ride is to stretch you beyond your normal limitations. I mean, that's why NASA used a lot of the ideas that a lot of these carnivals and other things were using to freaking develop some of their testing for their freaking pilots. Like, you guys remember what they used to call them, the Ramblers, or oh God, what was the other name that they called the rides? It's basically, they were the cars that swung outwards.
Yeah,
so
the Scrambler, right?
Yeah, the Scrambler,
like
yeah.
the Mine Scrambler, shit like that.
Yeah, yeah. The Scramblers, Rambler, and there was another name that they have them. But I mean, that's a similar in design what NASA uses. The only difference is instead of that arm spinning, it's just the extended arm, and the chair sits all the way at the end of that centrifuge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now, like you said, so many of these rides are just like so safety oriented and safe that they're not even fun anymore. There's no real thrills in a lot of them, because when you're all harnessed up and strapped in, you know nothing's going to happen at all, or there's not even a possibility something's going to happen. It's not quite as exciting. Honestly, it's not.
No. Well, you were talking about the plastic guns before, with them looking realistic. You know, right after that, they went all to the fluorescent orange and green colors. It's like, oh my God, that didn't even look like a gun.
Well, I remember before they started even doing the whole part of the gun, they would have, like, they would put the orange tip at the, you know, the barrel.
Matter of fact, they did that to the Transformers. The first year they got away with it in '84, but when they re-released Megatron in '85, he came with an orange cap on the end of him. Yeah. Now, granted, Granted, Hasbro did make that a removable cap, but they did have to put it on at least for the packaging when they were selling it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, fake super chat from Ancient One, a colossal size bag of premium carrots and premium lettuce for Tom, the guinea pig, his wife, and the guinea pig pup, so that they can week out of complete happiness. Thank you, buddy. What's a ride where you and others are placed in a chair that looks like a clam and you spin a lot? I think that's the same thing, the Scrambler and the Rambler. There were, what did they call it? They call it, some of the other ones, they call it like a teacup.
Oh, yeah. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I know the type of ride.
Like I used to like when I was younger too, I used to like the swing ride.
Oh, the
Where it
one
looked
that
like-
was just like a ship that would just do like a pendulum thing?
No, the swings. They were like legitimate swings, like chains hanging off the end of this big round turntable. And basically what it would do is it would lift you up in the air as it's spinning, so your chairs would be flying out sideways.
Oh.
And then it would start dipping up and down, so your chairs would be moving all over the place. You had to be careful, though, if you weren't paying attention, because it was easy to bump into one of the chairs in front of you or behind you. They were a lot of fun, which is why you need to go to an actual park where Rocky Mountain Construction has actually built something. The worst part about the RMCs is the lack of laterals. They have a hard time with them. But bunny hops for days. Yeah, the bunny hops is what make the roller coaster so much fun. Yeah, you don't remember the swing rides, huh?
No, I see. I thought you were talking about the one that's kind of shaped like a pirate ship, and
Oh yeah.
does like the pendulum back and forth.
Yeah, sometimes they call it a buccaneer.
Yeah. There you go, Buccaneer.
Yeah. I mean, but that's another one. Once again, they have a few different names for it, but Buccaneer seems to be one of the more favorite names for it. Yeah, right. Can't even get hammered and go hunting without orange vests anymore. Yeah, when they turned Megatron into a tank, it made me sad. Yeah, I know. But they had to do that for all the safety reasons. The Tilt-A-Whirl. Yep, 30-foot chain swings. Yeah, they were a lot of fun. I used to love those things. Like if you were screwing around, you had a bunch of people you went with, and you get them in front and behind you, you could actually start kicking off of each other because you would get close enough to kick their seats. So you could kick off of them.
Oh, yeah.
And just create a disaster in the air. And depending on whether or not the operator was actually paying attention, most of the time they would just let you go. They didn't even care.
All right, Tommy, I gotta take care of some stuff. I'm gonna head out.
All right, no problem. Yeah, I'm not going to go for too much longer because I know Darius usually starts in another minute or two, actually.
But
rides are too safe nowadays. Yeah, absolutely.
thanks for having me on.
No, I appreciate it, Slasher. You got Wednesday night going on?
Yeah, I'll try to do it this Wednesday night. I just my back couldn't. I couldn't even sit the other day, so I pushed it. So I pushed it back. But yeah, this Wednesday I'm going to be doing the movie. If you want to swing by, you too, Captain Truck. If you want to watch a movie with us,
absolutely. What's the movie?
Miami Connection.
Ah, cool.
Crappy 80s movie.
Nothing wrong with crappy 80s movies.
A lot of them were fun though. They didn't have to be ridiculously overdone like some of the ones now to get attention. So
yeah.
So make sure to stop by and see Slasher McSplitter Wednesday. What time you going to be running?
Well, we're gonna do it like we do it on JJ's channel. You know how we watch the movie, and then.
Oh no! This is for the people in the chat, so they know what time you're going to actually start the discussion.
Probably I'd say 10:30. I'm aiming for 10, but I might have to, push it back to 10:30. I'll see.
All right, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. Slasher's channel link is in the description. Make sure to swing by and check that out on Wednesday. Slasher, thank you for coming through.
Yeah,
Any other things you got going on, or?
No, nothing.
No,
Nah.
not right now.
Nah.
Too many weird things going on.
Yeah.
All good. All
All
good,
right,
man.
bro.
All right. Thanks for coming on. I
Have a
always
good one,
appreciate
Tommy.
love having
Have a
you
good
on.
one, Cap.
Well, thank you. You have a good one too.
Peace out, folks.
And Bruce, I always thought Megatron was better just as a robot. Here, turn into a revolver and let another robot fire you. They actually had a few of those, believe it or not, that actually just never made it into the Transformers. Curtis YZ, what's going on? Good to see you, buddy. I know we're going to be wrapping up soon here. You have to do a full show just for me. What the fuck? Yes, Soul Assassin. Yeah, and we actually wore one of those trench coats too. They had no clue what we were doing. We fooled them all. Try aqua therapy. Yeah, we always try to talk about the old school stuff. And in case you didn't catch what we talked about in the beginning, everybody, we did talk about the Breakfast Club. We were talking about the Tick, and then we wound up getting into a discussion about theme parks. So you just never know what's going to happen on retro discussions when we wind up talking about these old talks. Was there anything else you want to talk about as far as any of the topics that were brought up today, Captain Trek?
No, there wasn't anything. This has just been fun listening to. I just happened to pop in, wanted to just add to it a little bit.
No, you're always welcome. I mean, that's why I put you in that chat. Anytime you want to stop in and have a little fun and discuss these things, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
I know I don't get around as much as I should, but I mean, I'm so busy with all these side projects that I'm doing. It's been insane lately.
Called real life there, bud.
Yeah. You know what? I probably spent the better part of 2.5 hours today cleaning guinea pig cages and then cleaning off an overgrown freaking turtle with an attitude problem that shit all over himself. So fun day for me. The Tick, both shows, I love them. Yeah, I like the cartoon and I like the Prime version. I didn't watch the other one; it just didn't look interesting. I recommend you play a game called Hammer Watch. It's a retro action RPG. Huh. Thank you, Bone, for putting Captain Trek's up there. Appreciate that. But yeah, drop links like I said. Well, a lot of the links are also listed in the description, Daytona. So whatever hasn't been dropped in the chat already, if you look down in the description, you're going to find the links to most of the people that have been on. I don't put everybody's links because I don't know who's going to stop on. So I usually put the links of the people that stop on the most often. It's just easier that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm going to make just like a special link just for retro discussion where I've got about 30 links on there just in case. But I guarantee you, I'll put those 30 up, and somebody who doesn't stop in very often will stop on that day and not be part of that 30 that I have on the chat.
Yeah.
Which didn't I like? The one that came out in the early 2000s. I just didn't want to watch it. It didn't look interesting. So I watched the original cartoon, and then I watched the Prime one. Lemon vodka. Oh. I actually have some moonshine vodka. I just refuse. No, I read that one, Ancient One. I read it. But anyway, guys, that's all we have for this one. Any last thoughts, Captain Trek, before we roll out?
You mind if I promo my show?
Oh, man, absolutely. Go ahead.
Well, I do have the morning brew coming up at 6 a.m. Central. I don't have it set up yet, but it will be set up probably when I get ready to leave this stream. So when you see it, go ahead and set a reminder if you're able to join in. It usually lasts 2 to 3 hours. Depends. Sometimes longer.
I know a lot of times the early mornings are rough for me because usually that's when the wife is sleeping before she goes into work. But she is working a double. So I might be able to swing by. It's possible. I don't know. I got to see what time she actually rolls in. I never know what time she's rolling in. She tells me a double, and that can mean anything. So, I mean, this morning, apparently, she didn't roll in till like 9 a.m.
Wow.
And she leaves to go to work around 2, and she's got to be work by 2:45. So yeah, it's kind of hard for me to plan things early morning just because of that. And I don't want to wake her up because apparently I'm too loud, she says. Do you ever watch the old G.I. Joe on Hasbro YouTube? Every once in a while. Usually I have issues watching that because they don't always put them in sequence number, in order. So it's kind of like you're just watching stuff out of sequence, and I hate that. I like watching shows like one after another in sequential order. I hate watching them out of order. Awesome. Thank you, Daytona. Make sure to stop by, see Daytona. I know somebody had put his link in the chat. If somebody wants to throw his link back in the chat, absolutely go ahead and do it. Yeah, there was another one. It was early 2000s, Curtis. I forget who did it, and Slasher mentioned one of the actors in it, and I fail to remember who it is. Terrible with that stuff. Thank you, Bone. Appreciate it. But anyway, guys, that's all we have for this one. I know Darius is probably getting ready to start one of his streams, and if he hasn't already started, I'd actually be surprised. And then also ETEP, Wakuin and the Place to Be Reviews is going on at 8:30 if you guys want to stop by and check out him. And later on tonight, if you're still up, I know that Death by Saber does his Star Wars and Hose show. I believe that one comes on like either 11 or 12 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you stop by. And if you stop by any of those channels, make sure you put the hashtag Guinea Pig Swarm to let them know that we're giving them a little bit of love. I thank everybody that's been by in the chat. I thank everybody that's been on the panel with me. You all are amazing. And we're going to take you out the same way that we brought you in, and we will catch you next time. Later, y'all.